Oke. Selamat pagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, mohon dapat mengambil tempat karena pertemuan kita pada hari ini akan segera dimulai. Good morning. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan. His Excellency Bapak Budi Gunadi Sadikin, Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Her Excellency Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia.
Recording in
Representatives of
progress.
the Ministry of Human Development and Culture, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and the National Research and Innovation Agency. Representatives from World Bank Indonesia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ministry of Health of the Republic of Indonesia for the signing ceremony of the Indonesian cover letter of the proposal for the pandemic fund. It is a great pleasure to host such an important event. Before we start with the proceeding, I would like to invite you to sing the Indonesian national anthem, Indonesia Raya. Please kindly rise. Gentlemen, you may be seated. Now I invite Mr. Salman Mauludin Idris from the Center for Health, Hajj Health, to lead us with the prayer. You may have the floor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Marilah kita sejenak bersama-sama menundukkan kepala, bermunajat kepada Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, agar kegiatan kita hari ini diberikan berkah dan berjalan dengan lancar. Bagi yang beragama Islam, saya mohon izin memimpin doa sesuai tata cara agama Islam. Bagi yang beragama non-Muslim, menyesuaikan dengan agama dan kepercayaan masing-masing. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin, wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, dengan kasih sayang-Mu, kami pada hari ini berkumpul di tempat ini untuk menyelenggarakan acara penandatanganan cover letter proposal Indonesia untuk Pandemic Fund, sebagai salah satu upaya kami dalam memberikan pelayanan kesehatan bagi seluruh masyarakat Indonesia. Oleh karena itu, berkahilah semua langkah dan perbuatan kami, dan jadikanlah semua ini menjadi nilai ibadah dan ilmu yang bermanfaat kepada kami. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, ampunilah segala dosa dan kekhilafan kami. Hilangkanlah rasa angkuh, dalam data kami, dan tambahkanlah keimanan serta ketakwaan dalam kehidupan kami, agar kami menjadi hamba yang pandai bersyukur dan pribadi yang bermanfaat bagi seluruh rakyat Indonesia. Ya Allah ya Mujib, Engkau Allah yang maha mengabulkan doa, perkenankanlah doa dan permohonan kami ini. Allahumma inni as'aluka syihata wal afiyata wa husnal khuluq. Rabbana zalamna anfusana wa illam taghfir lana wa tarhamna lanakunanna minal khasirin. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
For the next agenda, I would like to invite Ibu Sharifah Alisa Munira, Deputy Minister for Health Policy Agency, to provide her report. Ibu Lisa, you may have the stage.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. His Excellency Minister of Health, the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Budi Gunadi Sadikin, His Excellency Vice Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Professor Dante Saxono Harbuono, Her Excellency Minister of Finance of the Republic of Indonesia, Ibu Sri Mulyani Indrawati, Bapak Yohanes Baptista Satya Sana Nugraha from the Coordinating Ministry for Human Development and Culture, Bapak Bambang Hendroyono from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Ibu Raden Roro Nur Tri Aris Suestining Tias from the National Research and Innovation Agency, Bapak Fajri Jufri from the Ministry of Agriculture, Bapak Satyawan Pudiatmoko from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Ibu Satu Kahkonen, Country Director for Indonesia, World Bank, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to have all of you with us here today on the occasion of the signing ceremony of the cover letter for Indonesia's proposal to the Pandemic Fund. Today marks an important milestone for all of us in the process of preparing this proposal, and also in our concerted effort to better prepare our country in detecting and responding to future pandemics. Bapak Menteri Kesehatan, Ibu Menteri Keuangan, Bapak Wakil Menteri Kesehatan, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, allow me to report on the different steps and milestones that have led us here today. Indonesia, sitting as the Pandemic Fund Governing Board, has the privilege to have had first-hand information on the Pandemic Fund's plan to launch the first call for proposal in November 2022. Since then, the Ministry of Health conducted weekly meetings with our World Bank Indonesia colleagues to prepare the proposal. Since the issuance of the expression of interest in February 2023, which was followed by the official announcement of the first call for proposal from the Pandemic Fund Secretariat, we have conducted 2 rounds of public consultations held in February and March 2023. We convened 7 interministerial coordination meetings in March and April, including one-on-one discussions with the different ministries that are present here today. A final 2-day consultation workshop was also conducted in early May to further shape the proposal. Bapak Menteri Kesehatan, Bapak Wakil Menteri Kesehatan, Ibu Menteri Keuangan, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, the cover letter to be signed today is one of the submission requirements from the Pandemic Fund to demonstrate our collective commitment to the proposed activities. And we are delighted that the cover letter for our proposal is being signed at the ministerial level by your excellencies. That shows the highest political support for the proposal. It is indeed an important step for all of us here as we are coming together in one single country proposal, demonstrating a strong One Health collaboration. The proposal is not only owned by the Ministry of Health, but it also belongs to all of us here today. Once the cover letter is signed, we will make the submission through the Pandemic Funds portal, and it is our collective hope, obviously, that the grant hopefully will be awarded to Indonesia in the announcement later in July. In the meantime, we will continue to communicate and coordinate with the ministries for the planned collaborations expressed in the proposal. Bapak Menteri Kesehatan, Bapak Wakil Menteri Kesehatan, Ibu Menteri Keuangan, dan Bapak Ibu sekalian, I would like to conclude my remarks by once again thanking the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, the National Research and Innovation Agency, and the World Bank for their contribution in the proposal development process. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, we will proceed to the next agenda. For the first speaker, I would like to invite Ibu Satu Kakonen from World Bank Indonesia to provide her remarks. You may have the stage.
Your Excellencies, Pak Budi, Minister of Health, Ibu Ani, Minister of Finance, distinguished representatives of Minister of Environment and Forestry, Ministry of Agriculture, and National Research and Innovation Agency. Selamat pagi and Assalamualaikum. I'm very happy to be with you here today to sign Indonesia's first proposal to the pandemic fund. As you all know, the government of Indonesia, in particular Pak Budi and Ibu Ani, who are sitting here at the table today, they were pivotal in making the pandemic fund a reality last year. And it was one of the major achievements, as we all know, of Indonesia's G20 presidency. And Indonesia managed to pull the whole world together on this agenda. And Indonesia also made a substantial contribution to the fund. So I want to commend Indonesia for these achievements. And now Indonesia is rightly trying to tap the fund. And the government has put together a very strong proposal called SCORES to the fund. And it is a proposal that in our view in the World Bank could prove exemplary in how the pandemic fund could support the pandemic preparedness and what can be achieved if there's a strong government commitment and also strategic vision on what to do. And we in the World Bank, we are very honored to be the implementing agency. We know it takes a lot of work, but it's a work that's worth doing. And we are very happy to basically then manage and implement this proposal if it gets funded that brings multiple ministries and agencies together. And it also mobilizes significant domestic co-financing and leverages substantial financing from external partners, including from the World Bank. The SCORES proposal adopts a true One Health perspective. It aims to build capacity of public health and veterinary laboratories to identify pathogens with pandemic potential. Capacity to detect pathogens that present major public health threats is crucial for Indonesia, but it's also crucial for the world. So this is a public good that we are proposing the fund to finance. And Indonesia has embarked in the past few years on a remarkable transformation of the health sector. And this SCORES proposal is part of that. The World Bank is very privileged and proud to partner with the government and support all the key health sector priorities of the government. We have ongoing results-based operations in multiple areas. We are supporting the pandemic response and vaccine deployment. We are improving primary healthcare together with the government. We are accelerating the reduction stunting, supporting the sustainability of national health insurance, and strengthening tuberculosis action. Further, we are preparing the second phase of the flagship program to address stunting. And we are working with the Ministry of Health and with key partners to do something unprecedented in Indonesia to strengthen the healthcare infrastructure at all levels of service delivery points. And I have to say that the breadth and depth of effort by the Ministry of Health, led by Minister Pak Budi, is truly remarkable. It's very good to be part of this effort. We hope that this base of strong health sector transformation will continue beyond upcoming elections. And we hope that because Indonesia has a good chance to demonstrate to the world that the middle income country can make determined strategic and fast improvements in health and nutrition outcomes of its population. So we in the World Bank, we are privileged to be a trusted partner for this effort, for this One Health effort, and to be with you in this journey. And we will do our best to support Indonesia's health sector transformation. Terima kasih banyak.
For the next speaker, I would like to invite Her Excellency Ibu Sri Mulyani to present her remarks. The stage is yours.
Terima kasih. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to all of you, especially Bu Satu dan all colleagues from the bank. Otherwise, they are all in Bahasa Indonesia. So actually, we are respecting you by speaking Bahasa Inggris, while actually we are all can speak Bahasa Indonesia. First of all, I'd like to express my appreciation, especially to Pak Budi. And this time Pak Budi asking me to speak first because he doesn't want to speak first and then I will then add something. So it's good that I'm speaking first so that he will add and completing the whole thing that I'm not going to cover. First, this is really a very good stage after last year. We are in a presidency of G20 in which Indonesia put one priority that is related to the pandemic preparedness. We should not, as a country, as well as a region and the world, should not just ignoring and then treating the pandemic as if this is one-off shock and then we can just move on with our life. It is not going to be moved on. I just read Economist last night and they are talking about so many development in the world with this disrupting the cave of a Batman, like the bat. And that's maybe becoming one of the most important possibility of the next pandemic. Pak Budi is always admire me because I read a lot and I always read something about the health in this case. Last time I mentioned about ADHD that he didn't know about ADHD and that's why he's very curious about that. But this time I look at what is going to be the next pandemic. And I'm sure we are all, even during the pandemic situation, we are all recognized that from many experts, almost all experts saying that this is not going to be the first, the last pandemic for the world. So being prepared is the best thing. And the leaders within the G20 recognize that the world has no adequate preparation mechanism for us to be able to respond if the pandemic is going to hit hard. And that's why the cost, not only in terms of the casualty of human being, but in terms of the economic, social, it's really huge. Even today, I think the scarring effect, not only in the economy, but many of the public finance globally, many countries are struggling because of this pandemic. So this should not be treated as just like one shock accident and then we don't learn from it. With that, the G20 is already now initiating this from Saudi to Italy and then Indonesia, starting to think about creating and establishing pandemic fund. Indonesia as a presidency in the G20 put huge effort as well as our own influence to many of the G20 membership. and we were able to actually establish this pandemic fund, preparedness fund. Of course, United States contribute very significantly, but Indonesia may be the only emerging country who contribute way beyond our own economic and financial capacity. This is just to show that our commitment on this particular area is not only just rhetoric, but also in a concrete real term. The second one, we are very fortunate to have Menteri Kesehatan, Minister of Health, Pak Budi, which is not a doctor, which then can see that this is not just a problem of health, but this is problem about the system, a system within our own countries, which is also quite complex as a big country with now more than 34 plus 4, so 38 provincial area, with more than 540 district, kabupaten, kota, is creating a huge complexity of how we are going to first respond to any pandemic, how we are going to be able to establish what you call it a credible and reliable mechanism, and how we are going to be able to actually make sure that pandemic can be controlled. But pandemic, by definition, is not one country problem. So even though we are doing our best, this is also something that needs a regional and global cooperation. And Pak Budi also play a very, very important role with his leadership in really making sure that we are going to be able to play this kind of role. So I really would like to express my highest appreciation to Pak Budi and his leadership in his vision and his determination to make sure that Indonesia is not only learning from this pandemic, but we are going to also improve from what we've already experienced. Although Indonesia under the leadership of Pak Presiden Joko Widodo and all the cabinet, we are actually doing relatively well in dealing with the pandemic and the economic and financial consequences. But it doesn't mean that we are satisfied and then we just go on. We want to make sure that we learn from it. And Pak Budi want to make sure that our own country mechanism in order for us to be able to strengthen the ability of hitting with the pandemic is going to be better. Third, Indonesia is not only dealing with the pandemic on a health issue. Satu mentioned about the stunting, tuberculosis, or even now leper and other. I think this is going to be one of the area in which Indonesia should be fully aware that the challenge of the health area is going to be even more. The traditional one, infectious disease, non-infectious disease, is becoming very, very important. And that's why continuous improvement on how we are going to build the health system in Indonesia is actually really required. This is not only just building the hospital, which is maybe more popular. This is not just like Pak Budi is very, very strong in making sure that I put more fellowship and scholarship to produce thousands of specialist doctor. So we don't have only one Wakil Menteri, which is genius like Pak, but we are going to create thousands of them. But this is also the whole health system that need to be built and strengthened, including, he always said about the demand side, which we provided through the PBE of BPJS Kesehatan. So this is really an opportunity for us to really strengthen the whole demand side, supply side, and the whole ecosystem of the health. I'm glad that today Indonesia, after showing a very strong leadership, we are proposing something to the pandemic fund. This is actually not just the funding itself, because if you are talking about the funding, I actually can pay that. But for Indonesia to be able to propose this kind of mechanism is actually also as a vehicle for us to first testing our own. Are we doing right? Are we actually thinking all the area that we need to think of? Are we actually organizing well in order for us to be able to actually get, and especially because pandemic is not one country problem, this is going to get the recognition. So if we are going to this proposal go, or we are going to be approved, first, of course, I appreciate the money, but that's actually number footnote. The main is actually, I will be very proud that the team working to prepare this proposal has already covered all the necessary and the most important and strategic thing that need to be built for Indonesia, as well as working together with the regional and global level. My small note after, because I think it is your fault to put the proposal in front of me, so I quickly glance and read it. And if I were the one who make a judgment, the first page that you are talking about, that this proposal, as Ibu Dirjen or Kepala Badan mentioned, that this is only one country system proposal, I will put it as a last priority. It should be regional and multilateral. And I actually look and glance of many of those, what you are just saying, it is supposed to be qualified, not only strengthening the pandemic for us, but also within the regional ASEAN, as well as global with WHO. So please, before you submit it after this signing, and if this signing there is a wrong on it, please correct this typo, because you should put a checkbox that this is not just the Indonesia own proposal of strengthening. Just look at this one. Nah, semuanya sekarang lihat kan halamannya. It should not just one single checkbox for the single country, because I'm not going to prioritize with the pandemic fund if it is only one single country. So please make sure that what Pak Budi and his team, Pak Dante and other, which is already working in a very regional and global level, should not be reduced by saying that this proposal only for Indonesia. And this is because the spirit of the cooperation that Indonesia continue consistently perform during the G20, now ASEAN chairmanship and so on. We always think not only for Indonesia, we always think beyond Indonesia, because we know that the issue like pandemic, climate change cannot be addressed only by one country own effort. So with that very small note, I will again congratulate Pak Budi, Pak Dante, Pak Wakil Menteri, as well as Ibu Kepala, which is actually the first half is actually in the Minister of Finance. So I'm sure that that's already a lot of discussion between Minister of Finance and Ministry of Health di tempat tidur atau di tempat makan. Which actually providing a much stronger proposal. So make sure that congratulate Pak Budi, Pak Dante, and seluruh jajarannya dan team, especially who's preparing for this proposal. Please making sure that this is not about money, but making sure that to showcase Indonesia again as a big country. We are continue improving our own system, but at the same time, we also continue cooperating and collaborating within the regional and global level, because this is the spirit that we need to continue voicing and showing when the world is becoming so fragmented. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Now, for the last speaker for this session, I'd like to invite His Excellency Minister Budi to provide his remarks. You may have the stage.
Ibu Sri Mulyani, Ibu Satu, Dr. Dante, and all my friends, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ibu Sri Mulyani reminded me, and she always reminded me a lot of things, that Budi, when you be a minister, don't forget to do an internal bureaucratic reform, because when you leave, you have to leave a legacy. So actually, Ibu, I just want to report to you as my senior minister and elder sister, that those are two objectives with this proposal. The first objective is not about Ibu Lisa, it's about Pak Bambang. So we have a 6 reform pillar, but actually I told the team we have 7, but the 7 is internal. So I never disclose to outside. So Ibu Sri Mulyani, because she is the Minister of Finance and control all the ministries, basically, I said that the 7 pillar of reform is a cultural reform or bureaucratic reform of the Ministry of Health. So when I joined, I realized, coming from finance, that the international involvement of the Ministry of Health is far beyond several other ministries. We are beyond Ministry of Trade, and definitely we are much below Ministry of Finance. Because Ministry of Finance, in terms of engagement at the international organization or platform or a global platform, is the deepest, is the highest. And of course, part of them is because Ibu Sri Mulyani is there. Yeah. So Ministry of Finance involvement at the global level is here. We are here. So I told Pak Bona at the time, when I recruited him from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, your job, Pak Bona, first, we need to be recognized. We need to bring your ministers all around the world to be recognized. Hey, Indonesia actually have a health minister which is not stupid. I think he is okay. So that is the first job that he did. And he did that on the first 2 years when I became health minister. The second job, I said to Pak Bona, is not about me, but we need to be able to tap resources, not only technical assistance, but also money. Not only coming in, but also coming out. So Ibu Satu, I have to thank you that we just finalized. I have to report to the ex-VP of World Bank. We just finished 2 people that we assigned in World Bank for 6 months. And now those 2 people are coming back. And Pak Wempi, I asked them to come to see Pak Wempi quite often and bring a lot of gift. So when every time you go there, see a lot of World Bank people give a batik, give or whatever. So they remember about Indonesia and Ministry of Health because we need to be recognized. And because of that, Pak Wempi said, oh, this is a good example. I think we need to do it with other ministries. So see that we are not the lowest down. We are at the middle already. To give example to other ministry, to put also a representative in the World Bank. Because World Bank has everything. It's not only health. They have, energy. They have social issues that they are taking care of. And now it's not only about World Bank. We are putting in people at Global Fund. We are putting in people at SAFI. We are putting in people in everywhere. So we are tapping the resources of organization. That is the second level of achievement. But I want to be the highest level. I said to Pak Bona, my ultimate level in terms of bringing Ministry of Health at the international platform is to be able to influence the global health policy, to make our voice being heard, to shape the global health policy, like what Ministry of Finance did. Now, we started, and this is one of the achievement, congratulations, although I have to say that 80% is supported by Ibu Sri Mulyani. Yeah, right? Because Ibu Sri Mulyani is doing it. We are running behind Ibu Sri Mulyani and get this done. So this is the greatest example how Indonesian Health Ministry and Finance Ministry, Finance is doing most of the job, but we are doing some of the jobs, help shaping a global health policy, influence a global health policy, make the Indonesian voice being heard at the global health level. And we need to continue doing this, and that is the job of Ibu Lisa, to make sure that we are expanding our capacity, like Minister of Finance as an example. And of course, we have a chance to better than Minister of Finance, especially after Ibu Sri Mulyani retired. We have a chance to overcome the Ministry of Finance. There's always a chance. Hopefully, the next Minister of Health is better than the next Minister of Finance. Yes, a chance. Now, everything is better, but we also competition always make us good. Now, the second thing is about sorry, the reform, yeah, Pak Bambang, yeah, Pak Bambang, that is your job. Ibu Lisa's job is on the second topic. The second topic is about this. This is about the surveillance. And pandemic, in every, it happens every 100 years. The cycle is there. It's like the financial crisis. Unfortunately, the cycle is longer. Financial crisis, the cycle is shorter, but it can become shorter and shorter also, pandemic. And I've seen the history, because I'm not a medical doctor, why pandemic happened. Pandemic happens only one reason. Pathogen jump from animals to human. So Black Death jump from rat to humans. You know, the flu, the first flu is coming from pig flu, from pig to human. The Asian flu, the bird flu, from bird and from jump the pathogen from bird to human. COVID-19, what I heard is the rumors is coming from bats. So Ibu Sumlani mentioned about bats. What I heard the rumor is the coronavirus jumped from bats to human. So I said, there is a concept called One Health. I've been listening to it for the last 2 years. I think there's too much talking, not working. So what we are proposing now is let's do surveillance for the top 10 animals that have the highest risk to have the pathogen jump to human. On these top 10 animals, we can define whether the animals that most likely will have pathogen to jump is a whale or a chicken. Because somebody want let's research a whale. I've never seen a whale, pathogen jump to woman. I think the probability is very, very small. So let's don't research a whale, but let's do more research on snake, because a lot of Indonesian eat snake or maybe dogs or whatever, because there is a possibility for us to jump the pathogen because we are keep eating exotic foods, especially in Asia. So we identify the animals. And then we identify the pathogen in these animals that have the most probability to jump to human. I don't know, you're the expert. Maybe that the pathogen can be transmitted through air, the pathogen that have the, what do you call it, the cellular level that can match with a human being. You are the expert. Rank the pathogen. After you identify the pathogen, do a genome sequence. You can identify the diagnostic tool, you can identify the therapeutics or medicine and the vaccine at the animal level. That would be easier rather than wait until they jump to human and then you do a research. The clinical trials will take longer. If you do it in animals, it will be easier for you. Then we are prepared. Yes, it will be different. The pathogen will mutate when they jump to human, but at least you understand the behavior of these pathogen. So that's why, Ibu, we work with Ministry of Agriculture, because most of that animal is domesticated or farm animals, because those are the animals that we eat. So most likely the pathogen will come into human and mutate. And one of them can be very dangerous. That is the reason why we work with the environmental industry, because some of the animals are wild animals. Indonesia is blessed by God because we have a very diverse and genomic variety, biodiversity and genomic variety. We have more poisonous snake than Australian and Asia, because we have the Weber line and Wallace line where it merged. The Asian races, the Asian animals, and the Australian race animal merged. That's why we have Komodo, we have Anoa, we have everything. So genomic variety is quite a lot. So that is the reason we need the Ministry of Environment. Typical Indonesian in Manado, they eat everything. They eat exotic food, they eat spider, they eat whatever it is. So that is a possibility for those to jump, to animals. That is also the reason we work with BRAIN. Ibu Sri Mulyani is sitting at the BRAIN advisory board to make sure that the researchers can help us, work together, but we give them a structure on health and the support of funding to the BRAIN people. A very targeted research. And to close my speech, Ibu is right. What we are doing, some of the money will be used to support our regional surveillance mechanism, because Indonesia, Vietnam, and Thailand is part of ASEAN Center of Public Emergency and Emerging Diseases, which is funded by the Japanese government. It is established in ASEAN. Indonesia part is surveillance. So, and if I'm not mistaken, we use part of this money to support the operational of Asian public health emergency and emerging diseases. So let's take that mark with the advice of Ibu Sidmani, because after you taking the mark, Ibu Sidmani has promised me that she will lobby the G7 finance minister, because they are the largest donors that have the vote. And the Ministry of Finance vote are stronger than Ministry of Health vote. I did the lobby in Tokyo. I do hope Ibu Simlani also I did the lobby in Nagasaki, because I just finished my health ministers meeting in Nagasaki, and I heard the rumors that Ibu Simlani also came to the finance minister meeting in Tokyo. I don't understand why finance minister always has a better cities than the health minister. Oh, Niigata, Niigata, not in Tokyo. Then I would like to close. Sun Tzu once said that every war is is won or lost. It really depends on how it begins. So if you would like to win the war, you have to make sure that you have excellent preparations. So again, the war with pathogen happens in our history of humankind. Kills hundreds of millions of people. Black Death kills 200 million people, more than the war with people in World War II, more than war with nature in Yangtze River flood that killed 5 million people. War with pathogen empirically kills more human beings than war with people and war with nature until Kiamat comes and doomsday. But so far, empirically, war with pathogen kills the most. So that's why we need to be prepared. It will come. And again, it's better to be prepared rather than not. Thank you.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we will now commence with the signing ceremony. I invite Her Excellency Minister Sri Mulyani, Bapak Fajri Jufri from the Ministry of Agriculture, Ibu Nur Tri Aries from the National Research and Innovation Agency, Bapak Satyawan Pudiatmoko from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and Ibu Satu Kakonan from World Bank Indonesia to proceed to the stage to join Pak Budi. For the first signing, I would like to invite Minister Budi to kindly proceed with the signing procession. Next, I invite Her Excellency Minister Sri Mulyani. Next, I would like to invite Bapak Fajri Jufri from Ministry of Agriculture. Next, I would like to invite Ibu Nur Tri Aries from the National Research and Innovation Agency. And now, I would like to invite Bapak Satyawan Pudiatmoko from the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Last but not least, I would like to invite Ibu Satu Kakonen from World Bank as our implementing entity to provide her sign. Now we would like to proceed with the family photo. So please kindly remain standing on the stage and move to the middle part of the stage. Thank you. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that our endeavor to strengthen our national and regional and multilateral capacity for pandemic prevention, preparedness, and response will be seen as a crucial part of a stronger global health architecture. We are now conclude our agenda. Thank you for your kind participation. Just a brief announcement. We also provide lunch for all of you who attend this event.
Recording stopped.
Proceed to the outside to the venue for the lunch. Thank you.